Have my blue blockers on, yeah. So it is kind of rainy and cold today. Got my zip up on, but I wanted to talk to you about what I posted this morning. It's actually gotten quite a few responses, some private messages, actually a phone call, and I just wanted to discuss kind of what that really means is don't be so attached to your past that it disrupts your commitment to the future. What do you think that means? What does that mean for you? What does that mean for your current reality? And for me, what it really means is this is what are we actually holding on to? Are we holding on to the things that serve us or not? And sometimes it's hard to see that reality of the things that don't actually serve us. And I think sometimes we don't actually want to see that reality because we are holding on. And so this one's going to go in many different directions, and it is going to go kind of deep actually. And I have been going through what is called the dark night of the soul, if you know that term. If not, Google it and understand kind of what that is, because that is the letting go. That is the process of letting go, and that's kind of what I've been going through for about 2 months now. And it has been really amazing and really connected and really beautiful. It also has been really painful, really, really, really difficult to go through and understanding what is coming up and the ego death of like letting go. And that's what I think it is like we are so attached to the past because it's familiar, it's comfortable. Those things are the things that we know. But does it serve us? Does it allow us to become the best version of ourselves? And I think you guys have heard me say that about kind of that term specifically, becoming the best version of ourselves. I think that version's already within us. I think we are just uncovering that version of ourselves. Is becoming is just uncovering because that version of us is already there, depending on how spiritual you want to get, how woo woo, some people will call it, you want to get. But really, that version of us is inside. And then how do we actually tap into that? And it's becoming the vibration of the frequency that allows that person to be revealed. And right now, I am on the tail end of this. And I think, based on the instruction that I'm getting through my meditation and my prayer stacking and the things that I've been doing, is it's like I have the opportunity to fully heal probably over the next 2 weeks. And so I need to be doing what's called fully feeling so I can get the benefit of the fully healing. And it's tough, especially for men. I know it's so cliche, but we are taught that our feelings don't matter a lot. We're taught that we shouldn't really have to express ourselves in that way. And it's unfortunate. And the one thing I will tell you about that is that I've been able to really do is just change that for the interaction with my son. And that, if nothing else, is a huge benefit for me by really allowing him to feel these feelings. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you want to really detach from the past so you can concentrate on your future, you have to do the things that will allow you to heal from the past so you can actually move into the future. But I think a lot of us are so addicted to the pain of the past. Hear me out. Hear me out, okay? When I was told this, I kind of bucked a little bit and was like, dude, no, that's kind of bullshit, man. Like, are you serious? Like, you really think that I'm addicted to some sort of pain of the past? And the answer might be yes. The answer might be absolutely. I'm gonna take this phone call. Hey, Jordan,
Hey,
I'm on a Facebook Live right now. You should hop on. You are now part of my Facebook Live. I'll talk to you soon. All
wait a
right.
second.
Bye. And what I was getting to is this is are you addicted to the pain of the past? Are you addicted to what is keeping you stuck in the past? So let me just give you an example. Is we oscillate a lot of times between our soul and our ego. And our soul is saying all of the things that are our true self, which is connectedness, calmness, compassion, let's see, connectedness, curiosity, creativity, confidence, and courage. Like those things are our true self. That when you're operating from a place of that feelingness, you are truly in the state of your true self. And when you're not, everything else is just a protector part. So if your ego is saying, hey, get angry at that person that treated you like crap, that is just a defense mechanism, okay, between oscillating between the soul and the ego, is that is just a defense mechanism to basically keep you stuck by feeling the feelings of anger or resentment or rage or hatred or whatever it might be, jealousy, okay? That is just keeping you stuck in those feelings so you don't actually have to deal with the root cause, which a lot of it is stemmed in many different things, but the biggest human fear is abandonment. Okay, let me just repeat that. The biggest human fear is abandonment. And that is because, hey, Jordan, good to see you. Let's see. Let's see if I can bring you. Do you want to come on live, Jordan? Let me know. But so there's quite a few different things. The biggest human fear is abandonment. And if you just think about how we raise children biologically and how they need us to survive, that makes a lot of sense. Because if you abandon a baby, they're not going to be able to thrive. It's called failure to thrive. They're not going to be able to survive. And so that makes sense, right? But then what are the others? Maybe rejection, abandonment, um, fear, loneliness, sadness, like all of these things that our ego is trying to protect us from is what we actually need to deal with, right? And the thing that's keeping us stuck in the past is the ego. The ego wants us to stay connected, and sometimes maybe that's the only connection you have left. Okay, I'm going to bring Jordan on. I just sent you an invite. The only things you have left. Maybe somebody passed away and you're connected to that feeling and you're connected to that idea of who they were. Hey, Jordan,
Hey,
you were on my phone call and now you're on my Facebook Live.
that's crazy.
That is crazy. That's so amazing. So I'm just talking about the premise of people being so stuck in the attachment of their past and really not being able to see the potential and possibility of their future because they're always looking backwards instead of maybe in the present moment to create the future, right? We're always creating the
hmm
future in the now. And so I think a lot of people that are stuck in the past, which it's a little too raw for me right now to really discuss on a Facebook Live, but I'm being told that I need to share this, and I will someday, and it's just not going to be today. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's interesting because I just listened to a podcast yesterday that Eric shared with me with Ed Milet.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, and Taryn, I can't remember her name, but she was talking a lot about that. And, like again, the story of our life, it happens, but like what you're saying, it's our narrative that we're narrating it, and so we're creating, like, well, this is how that played out, this is how this played out, and that's been
Right,
we just been doing the narrative our whole lives. And so the thing is like we can change the narrative, but in order to do that, like you said, we're just stuck, we're in our old programming. And so something that she said, the shredding technique, because I've done a lot of work, but still certain things pop up and
right,
it gets in my mind. And so, but again, we're trying to train the mind to get it out of there. So literally, I think of, you know, a situation that happened in the past that, when I get to it, like that's why I'm in fear about something right now.
right.
I'll think of that and then see it shredding in the paper shredder. And I'm
Oh,
actually
cool.
watching my mind shred it. And I'm just programming like my mind, like it's telling my mind, we don't want to think about that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we don't.
that,
It doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us to think about that. So I'm going to shred you.
yeah. And then our mind is trained like, oh, that's gone. That's going away. That doesn't exist anymore. And then you fill it with the things that you want it to exist. what or
Right.
want to exist. So that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool because I think part of that is detaching instead of being so connected to the past is detaching from the past. And how do you do that, right? Like so many people are like, okay, great, how do you do that? And so there's a couple of things that I've learned. A good friend of mine calls it the stop method, where you really healing and the future is created in the present, right? You can't heal like the past is already the past and the future isn't here yet. So you have to heal yourself in the current moment, right? And so he calls it the stop process. So if you remember Neo in the Matrix, where he sticks out his hand and stops the bullets, and they all just fall to the ground because they're not real, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the stop process is stop, pause, breathe, and then you ask yourself, because it's what you're trying to do is you're trying to stop the pattern of going back into the past, right? So then you ask yourself, do you want to go down this path? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but for me it's like, no, I don't. Okay, well then let's bring it back to the present moment. So as you have your eyes closed and you're breathing, you say, okay, I can feel my toes tingling. I can move them up and down. I can feel my shoulders relaxing. I can feel the breath coming in and out of my lungs and my stomach. And so what it does is it just brings you back to the present moment, because that's the only place that healing really occurs. And
Mm-hmm.
then you acknowledge yourself, like, hey, good job, Taylor. I'm proud of you for not going down that path and breaking that pattern, because the more you do that, the more you can actually heal.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
and then just take another deep breath, and then just come back to the present moment. Because what happens is when you have these things that are showing up, you're either in the past, right? You're attached to the past so much that you just aren't able to let that go. That's where depression lives, right? Depression always lives in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unworthiness always lives in the past. Anxiety lives in the future because you're fearful of what may or may not happen. So anxiety always lives in the future, right? But
Mm-hmm.
healing happens right now in the present moment. And that's the only place it can actually happen. And
Yep.
so, yeah, and so it's an interesting process, but like letting go of the past and understanding, like, hey, that no longer serves me. That which is in the past and is no longer in my life and my consciousness now is not anything that I need to worry about, because it's not here. It's no longer for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so simple, but it is not easy. Any thoughts on that?
No, no, I think that's great advice. And I guess just to go a little deeper, I'm reading the book by David Hawkins, Letting Go. And he
Cool.
talks about, so again, when feelings, feelings are good, emotions are good, right? And
Right.
we want to, there's no like, they just are. So like, let's say, with that, like the past, something coming up, like, my ex-husband or something, is doing something, and I just get this,
Right.
I feel all irritated and mad and whatever. And okay, getting into the present moment and calming myself, but really kind of peel the onion. Okay, well, why do I feel, why am I
Right.
upset?
What is the
Well,
trigger?
yeah, what's triggering me? Well, it's I'm in fear. I'm in fear because
Mm,
he's going to do something that, to get me. Well, why are you in fear about that? Well, because I don't think that I'm strong enough to handle it. That
mm,
you just keep peeling and peeling until you get to what the cause really is. Because sure,
right.
that's the past, but really it's my issue with the fear and how I look at myself.
Right.
So,
Right.
um, that's been a huge thing for me, is like being with the emotion, like what you said, and being in that moment, but really, okay, and just start asking, well, why is that, and just keep going and going, and then you get to the root cause, and we can start working to get out of that and reprogramming from that space, because we're just talking about surface level issues.
Right.
He's not the issue. It's my issue that I'm going to heal. So
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But in order to get in that space, like what you said, you got to like stop and be aware of it in the first
Right.
place.
You
Most of
got to
us are on
notice the pattern.
autopilot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that
So,
stop process is, his group is called Inner Alchemy. I'll have to get like a link and maybe share it. But that process is really stop the pattern. It was interesting when we talked about it, is so actually let me take a step back. One, I acknowledge you for understanding that your trigger or the face of what you're seeing is not actually the cause, it's the symptom, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that person is the symptom. The cause is usually 3 or 4 layers, like you said, behind that to really understand what the root cause trigger is. But the stop process, it's interesting because I was using the stop process at the very beginning of his training about 2 months ago to stop the emotions that I didn't want to feel. And he's like, oh, hey, don't do that. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to stop the pattern and interrupt the pattern of you like having this overthinker or overachiever or perfectionist or controlling part of you, right? Those are the patterns that create the ego, and the ego flares up to make you angry, make you jealous, make you sad. That way you don't have to really necessarily deal with what you're talking about, which is the root cause of the trigger. Like you're triggered,
Yeah.
yes, but what is that root cause? And then if you can get to that root cause in the present moment, you can actually heal, which is an amazing place to be. So
That's awesome. That's really cool. I want to learn
yeah,
more about that.
yeah, it's actually an
Yeah.
amazing process, and I think we're about halfway. I think we got about 6, maybe 7 more weeks in his course, and it has been eye-opening. Like one of the
Yeah.
coolest things. So I'll just share a couple things. Hopefully he doesn't mind, but he talks about if you can see it, you don't have to be it.
Mm.
Okay, because what really happens is we talk a lot about shadow self and shadow work, because what we can't see, the unconscious part of what we can't see, is what usually is coming up. But if we can just basically turn the light on to the things that you can't see, but maybe other people can be open to that criticism and the feedback, that is where the growth occurs, because you can't see your blind spots, but somebody else can. And if
Yeah.
you're open to them saying, hey, just so you understand, this is what usually occurs when we fight or when we have conversations or whatever it might be, that shadow part of you, if you can make the unconscious conscious, it that is like a game changer. Because Carl Jung says, if you don't make the unconscious conscious, you will live life and think it's fate. But it's not. It's just your shadow self not being able to see what it needs to see to be able to heal what it needs to heal, right? So there's so much work in that. This is going way deeper than I expected it to. It's going way longer than I expected it to. I'm going on like 18 minutes, but I mean, I think it's important, and just being led as you called exactly what I'm doing at Facebook Live. Like you were meant to be here. I was meant to talk about this, and really, it's such an interesting process of self-reflection. But like being able to let go of the past and really move into the future, knowing that that is what's right for you. Like what else? What else can you want? What else do you need?
Mm-hmm. This is like you said, there's so much with talking about this that we could touch on, but it is the going on this journey, like you're saying, and just tapping into this stuff. It's amazing of how much life opens up in a way that you never thought was
Right.
possible. I mean, it's just fascinating, and you're just like hungry for more and more to see. So it's just, we'll have to
Right.
do another one and on these, because like there's just so much and to
There's
share.
right. There's so much. And what it reminds me of is you can't steal second base with your foot on first, right? And it's so cliche, but it's so simple that you have to take the risk and just start freaking running and get to second base, right? And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
ever get your foot off the first, you're never going to get there. So take the risk, let go of what's no longer serving you to be able to step into the version of you that can create what can and does serve you.
Yep. And trust, like surrender, trust whether it's God for you or the universe, but trust that they're the coach that's guiding you to say, run. You're not supposed to be looking at the ball or anything. You're just
Right,
supposed to go
right,
and like trust and surrender that, you're going to be led to which way to go.
right. So John writes, the subconscious is so strong. If we don't know what it's thinking, we can only be reactive to it. That's right. John,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, brother. Thank you for that comment. It's so poignant because yeah, you're exactly right. Like it's such a large part of who we are that I don't know why we don't study it more, right? And that's why I'm part of in this course, the inner alchemy course, is that like really seeing and making the unconscious conscious, because that is where the work needs to be done. And so yeah, for sure, John says great talk. Thank you guys. But
Oh, thanks.
yeah, for sure. So let's wrap this up because it's going about twice as long as I expected, but it's awesome. And then you and I can talk offline about what else is going
Yeah.
on. But what are your
Okay.
thoughts? How do you want to finish this off?
I think this was great. I think it was just organic and happened how it was supposed to, and it's just
Right?
really cool how things happen like this. So I mean
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Like, thank you for inviting me on when
Yeah,
I
100%.
called.
Thanks for joining and thanks for calling me at the perfect time to be able to hop on. I hope you guys find value in these videos. Part of this is for me is trying to find my voice in regards to what I'm going to talk about and how I'm going to present it. And it's interesting because the voice within me is telling me that I'm going to have to talk about my traumas. And I don't want to do that. And it's very strong that it's telling me that I must do that. And I don't want to do that.
It's
And this, like talking about the shadow self and really unraveling and making the unconscious conscious and seeing what I can see, it's pretty amazing. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this is of value. Thanks, John, for joining us, brother. We'll see you guys soon.
bye.